Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something ancient stir within you? A strange familiarity, as if time paused for a breath and the world fell away, leaving just the two of you, suspended in a moment that felt both brand new and impossibly old. There are meetings that don't feel like beginnings. They feel like continuations, as if something between you has already existed, and now it's simply being remembered. You try to explain it, but words fall short. I just feel like I've known them forever. There's something about them. I can't stop thinking about it. And deep down, a quiet voice whispers what your mind struggles to believe. You've met before. Not in this life, perhaps. Not in any place your memory can trace. But something in your soul responds with certainty. The way they move, the sound of their voice, the way your heart aches and expands at once when they're near. It all feels too precise to be coincidence. Some say it's chemistry, others call it destiny. But maybe it's memory, not the kind your brain stores, but the kind your soul carries, the kind that slips through lifetimes waiting for the right moment to surface. Dolores Cannon spoke of these meetings. She believed that souls choose one another long before bodies ever meet, that what we call love at first sight is really love at first recognition. And if that's true, then perhaps that intense pull you feel towards someone isn't about falling in love at all. Maybe it's about waking up to something ancient, something sacred, a love that isn't new because it was never lost. You didn't just meet them, you remembered them. And now the question becomes, what are you going to do with what your soul already knows? Love, when it's real, doesn't feel like something you find. It feels like something that returns. We often think of love as a treasure we must search for, a person we haven't met yet, waiting somewhere out in the future. But what if love isn't a discovery at all? What if it's a memory, a deep, soul-level remembrance of a bond that already existed long before this lifetime ever began? There is a reason why some people, the moment they walk into your life, feel like a home you forgot you were missing. It's not their face, or their voice, or the stories they share. It's something much deeper, something timeless. It's as if your soul whispers, "There you are." This kind of love doesn't build slowly. It surges, like a flood of something ancient. You're not learning to love them. You're remembering how. You don't need to start from scratch, because the foundation is already there, etched in something beyond logic, beyond time, beyond this world. According to Dolores Cannon's work, many of the deep soul connections we experience are not random. They are echoes of past lives, old agreements, and spiritual contracts made long before we were born. The people we feel the most drawn to are often those we've already loved in different forms, in different times, under different skies. That's why it feels so intense, so immediate, so inexplicably right, because your soul has known them, maybe as a lover, a partner, a friend, even a twin flame. And when you cross paths again in this lifetime, it's not a meeting, it's a remembering. Of course, the mind resists this idea. It wants proof. It wants stories that line up, histories that make sense. But the soul doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in feeling, in knowing, in energy. And sometimes, all it takes is a look, a word, a shared silence, and the memory awakens. This is why you can feel such a strong connection to someone you just met. It's not new. It never was. It was always there, waiting to rise to the surface again. Love, when it comes from the soul, isn't a surprise. It's a return. It's a reminder of what you already knew, but forgot until now. There's something unmistakable about the moment your soul recognizes another. It has nothing to do with appearances, names, or the details of someone's life. It's not about what they do, where they've been, or how they fit into the mold of who you thought you were looking for. It's something far more subtle and far more powerful. It begins with a feeling, a pull that can't be explained, a sense of deep familiarity that arrives before a single word is exchanged. You feel seen, not for how you look or what you say, but for something inside you that even you sometimes forget exists. It's as if they carry a mirror that reflects not your image, but your essence. Soul recognition doesn't require time. It doesn't grow through facts and information. It awakens through energy. You may be sitting across from a stranger, and yet every part of you feels like you've returned to something real, something ancient, something safe. Not because they're perfect, but because they're known. In a world that teaches us to evaluate love based on compatibility, attraction, and shared interests, soul recognition breaks all the rules. You may have nothing in common, and yet you feel closer to them than people you've known your entire life. You may come from different cultures, backgrounds, even belief systems, but there is a silent understanding between you that defies explanation. That's because the connection lives beyond the physical. It isn't rooted in body or mind, but in memory, the soul's memory. It reaches back into lifetimes you can't remember with your mind, but can feel in your heart. Dolores Cannon often spoke of these encounters as planned events in our soul's journey. Crossroads we chose before we came here, meant to activate something we needed to remember. The recognition itself is not always soft or easy. Sometimes it stirs confusion, longing, even fear. Because when your soul remembers someone it has loved before, the intensity can be overwhelming. There is a kind of emotional truth in their presence that you can't ignore. And even if you try to walk away, something inside of you knows that something important has been awakened. Soul recognition isn't just about romance. It can happen with a friend, a teacher, even a stranger on a train. What matters is not the form the relationship takes, but the depth of the connection. You feel it in your chest, in your gut, in the quiet moments between words. It's not about who they are in this life. It's about who they've been to you across time. And when you meet someone your soul remembers, nothing looks the same again. Some meetings feel like déjà vu wrapped in skin and breath. You stand before someone you've never seen before, and yet your heart reacts as if it's catching up to something it's known for centuries. You feel it in the way your body relaxes around them, in the way your words seem to find rhythm without effort, in the way your guard lowers without being asked. It doesn't make logical sense, but it doesn't have to. Because some first meetings aren't really the first. They're the continuation of a story that began long ago, somewhere your conscious mind can't reach, but your soul remembers in quiet, aching detail. That glance across the room, that accidental touch, that lingering silence that says more than words ever could. They're all echoes of another time, another life. In Dolores Cannon's work, many people under hypnosis recalled moments when they reunited with souls they had loved in past lives. They described the meeting not with excitement, but with relief, the kind that comes when something misplaced is finally returned. That sensation of instant trust, unearned and unexplainable, makes sense when you understand it's not being built, it's being retrieved. You're not falling into something new, you're returning to something old. This is why some people feel like poetry you've read before but can't remember where. Why conversations flow like rivers, skipping the small talk and diving straight into depth. why you feel safe telling them things you've never spoken aloud. Because your connection didn't begin here. It simply crossed the veil and found you again. And yet, these encounters don't always come wrapped in fairy tales. Sometimes they arrive with friction, complexity, even pain, because not all soul stories were finished. Some were interrupted, some were left unresolved. And when those souls meet again, the past doesn't disappear. It surfaces. In emotions too big, in feelings too fast, in lessons that demand attention. The beauty and the challenge of such meetings lie in their familiarity. They awaken parts of you forgot existed. They call you to remember, to heal, to evolve, not just with the other, but within yourself. They carry the weight of memory, and with it, the invitation to rewrite the ending. So if you've ever met someone and felt the strange, silent thought, I know you, believe it. Your soul is older than your body, and it does not forget those it has loved. Sometimes, the first meeting isn't about discovery. It's about reunion. Not the beginning of a story, but the page you return to after lifetimes apart. And in that recognition, something sacred stirs. Not just the memory of the other, but the memory of who you were when you loved them. There are connections that take years to build, and then there are others that arrive fully formed, intense, overwhelming, impossible to explain. You meet someone, and within minutes, it feels like they've always been a part of your life. Time seems to bend, logic steps aside, and your entire being responds to them with a level of trust, familiarity, and emotional depth that seems far too fast to be reasonable. But it's not speed you're feeling, it's memory. The connection feels so deep, so fast, because your soul already knows theirs. It's not creating a bond, it's reactivating one. This is why you can finish each other's sentences without ever having practiced. Why you understand their silence better than other people's words. Why being near them feels like breathing easier, like you've returned to a place you didn't know you'd left. Dolores Cannon often described this phenomenon in her sessions. Two souls recognizing one another from past lives. Their energetic patterns had danced together before. They had shared lessons, laughter, loss. And when they meet again, the emotional blueprint is still there, buried in the subconscious, waiting to reawaken. That's why the connection cuts through the surface. It's not interested in details like where you work, what your favorite color is, or how you take your coffee. It's deeper than personality. It's soul level. It moves past your defenses and touches something raw and ancient. This depth can be exhilarating, but it can also be unsettling, because when you feel something so strong, so fast, your rational mind starts to panic. How can this be real? Isn't it too soon to feel this way? What if I'm just imagining it? But your soul doesn't operate on the same timeline as your mind. It doesn't need years to know. It needs only a moment of truth, of presence, of resonance. The heart may still be catching up, but the soul has already remembered. And this depth, this speed, often has a purpose. These connections are not random. They are catalysts. They shake you awake. They remind you of who you really are. They open doors within you that you didn't know existed. Even if the relationship doesn't last forever, the transformation it initiates will. So if you've ever met someone and felt like you've known them for lifetimes, maybe you have. If you've ever loved someone within days as if you'd loved them for years, maybe that love never truly ended. It simply picked up where it left off. Because when souls meet again, time is not the measure. Memory is. Memory plays a quiet, powerful role in soul love. Not the kind of memory we access with our minds, dates, names, or past events, but the deeper, cellular memory carried by the soul itself. The kind that doesn't need words, the kind that speaks through emotions, sensations, and an unshakable inner knowing. When you meet someone who touches you at this level, it's not your logic that responds, it's your essence. You may feel drawn to them without understanding why. Their presence may trigger emotions that seem out of place. Overwhelming affection, unexplainable grief, deep peace, or sudden fear. These are not signs of confusion. They are signs of remembrance. Dolores Cannon's body of work often returned to this theme. Through past life regressions, countless people described meeting someone in this life who instantly felt significant. Later, under hypnosis, they would recall shared experiences with that soul in other lifetimes, as lovers, friends, siblings, even enemies. What they were feeling in the present wasn't new. It was the soul's memory being reawakened. In soul love, memory becomes the bridge. It connects what the conscious mind cannot explain with what the heart deeply feels. It is the reason some connections feel so ancient, so immediate, so undeniable. These memories aren't stored in the brain. They live in your energetic field. They rise when you're ready, or when the soul agreement says it's time. This kind of memory doesn't follow the rules of time. You might feel like you've known someone for lifetimes, even if you've only spent a few hours with them. Or you may dream of them before you meet, sense their presence before they enter your life, or feel nostalgic for them even while you're together. That's because soul memory isn't linear. It's emotional. It's intuitive. It's layered. It also serves a purpose. When the soul remembers, it doesn't do so for comfort alone. It does it to guide you, to wake you up to something greater. These memories often come with lessons about love, forgiveness, freedom, and growth. They stir something inside of you that's been dormant. They pull you closer to your truest self. And sometimes, the memory isn't clear. It's just a feeling, a quiet certainty, a warmth in the chest, a tear you didn't expect, a smile that feels like sunlight on an old wound. Soul memory doesn't shout, it whispers. But when it speaks, something in you listens and responds. Because soul love doesn't begin in this life, it continues. And the memory it carries is not a burden, but a blessing. One that reminds you that real love is never lost, only remembered. What if the people you meet in this life, especially the ones who impact you the most, are not random strangers, but souls you've already known? What if the strongest connections, both joyful and painful, were planned long before you were born? This is the idea behind past lives and spiritual contracts. According to Dolores Cannon and many other spiritual teachers, the soul does not enter a life unprepared. Before incarnating, we choose certain experiences, challenges, and relationships that will help us grow. We meet with other souls in a realm beyond time and space, and together, we make agreements. These are not contracts written in fear or control, but in love. We choose each other again and again because of the deep desire to evolve, to heal old wounds, fulfill promises, and remember who we really are. Some souls agree to return as our family, some as friends, and others as partners or twin flames. In these contracts, the soul recognizes that the love may not always be easy, but it will always be transformative. And it is within this deeper intention that the most intense relationships are born. When you meet someone and feel an immediate bond, or when a connection shakes you to your core for no apparent reason, It could be the fulfillment of one of these ancient agreements, a soul recognizing another from a lifelong past. A meeting that was destined not by fate in the external world, but by choice made at the soul level. Past life experiences can also leave emotional imprints. Feelings of fear, longing, or attachment may not originate in this lifetime, but may echo from unresolved stories. Sometimes we meet someone and instantly feel comfort or tension without understanding why. These feelings are clues, fragments of a story that the soul remembers even if the mind does not. Understanding spiritual contracts helps us shift our perspective. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" We begin to see our connections not as accidents or coincidences, but as invitations. Opportunities to grow, to awaken, and to fulfill a promise we made long ago. Not every soul connection is meant to last forever, but everyone is meant to move us. Some arrive to open our hearts, others to challenge our beliefs, and a few, the rarest kind, arrive to remind us of our eternal nature. These are the ones that feel like home and mystery at the same time. So when you feel deeply connected to someone without explanation, trust that your soul knows more than your mind. You may be living out a promise made across lifetimes, one that brought you both here, now, for something sacred to unfold. Not every soul memory feels like light. Sometimes remembering someone, truly remembering them, comes with pain, a quiet ache, a sense of loss that doesn't make sense. You meet someone and feel joy, but beneath that joy, there is a sadness you can't explain, as if you've found something precious and fragile all at once. This is what happens when the soul remembers a love that wasn't finished, a connection that was once real, once deep, but was interrupted, maybe by time, maybe by choice, maybe by death. And now, in this life, the souls meet again. But the memory that surfaces isn't just beauty, it's longing. It's the echo of something broken. Dolores Cannon's clients often described this. In sessions, they recalled past lives where great love existed, but where circumstances pulled them apart. A war, a betrayal, a death too soon. And in this life, when they met the same soul again, the love came rushing back. But so did the grief. That's why some connections hurt even when they're full of love. The soul isn't just remembering joy. It's remembering loss. It's carrying the emotional weight of everything that came before. And when that memory awakens, it doesn't always feel gentle. You might feel overwhelmed or confused or even afraid, not because the person has done anything wrong, but because their presence opens a door inside you that you weren't ready to walk through. Suddenly, you feel everything at once, and it can be too much, but the pain has a purpose. It's not there to punish you. It's there to heal you, to show you what's still unresolved, to help you release what no longer serves you. Because soul love isn't just about sweetness. It's about transformation. And transformation often begins with discomfort. Sometimes remembering hurts because it reminds you of how deeply you can love, of what you've lost, and of what you're still afraid to lose. But within that hurt, there's also truth. And within that truth, there's a chance to break old patterns, to forgive, to grow. If it hurts to remember, honor that feeling. Sit with it. Listen to it. Don't push it away, because the pain you feel may not be about this moment. It may be the voice of a past life asking to be heard one last time. And in that listening, something softens, something releases, and what once felt like a wound becomes a door to a love that's finally ready to be whole. There's a reason your soul remembers them. It's not random. It's not coincidence. When someone steps into your life and awakens something so deep, so familiar, so undeniable, it's because there is meaning in that meeting, purpose in that pull. Whether the connection lasts a lifetime or just a fleeting moment, it was never meant to be ordinary. You remember each other because something within you is ready to grow, to heal, or to awaken. Soul connections are never just about comfort. They are mirrors, messengers, catalysts. They come to remind you of who you are beyond the layers you've built to survive. They stir the parts of you that have been sleeping. They call you back to yourself. Dolores Cannon spoke of soul agreements, contracts made before birth with the intention of evolution. The people we feel most drawn to are often the ones we've chosen to meet again, precisely because something important must unfold. Sometimes it's love, sometimes it's healing, sometimes it's letting go, but it always carries the thread of remembrance. That thread isn't always easy to follow. The connection might challenge you. It might push you to face fears you've long buried. It might not even make sense in the structure of your current life. But your soul doesn't care about convenience. It cares about truth. And the truth is, you remember each other because you have work to do together, even if that work is simply to feel something real, to open your heart even if it breaks, to recognize yourself through the eyes of another soul who has walked with you before. So don't dismiss the power of that recognition. Don't rush to define it, to label it, or to control it. Just allow it. Let it teach you. Let it soften you. Let it show you what love looks like when it comes not from need or desire, but from memory, from intention, from something far older than this lifetime. You don't remember each other by accident. You remember each other because the soul never forgets what matters most. If this message stirred something deep inside you, a memory, a feeling, a truth you can't quite explain, you're not alone. These soul-level awakenings are just the beginning. Stay connected. More is coming. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us in the next videos as we continue exploring the mystery of twin flames, past lives, and the sacred contracts your soul never forgot. Your journey is unfolding. Don't miss what comes next.